December 5th, 2019. Joe here at Simple Life Show. Appreciate everybody for joining me today. If you're not already aware that the House Democrats have decided to go forward with the impeachment, even though there has not been too much real information or real evidence pointing to an impeachable offense. I've really been trying to watch this, even though it's been painful to watch. I feel it's a duty to watch most of this, or at least keep in step with what's really going on as much as possible. I will admit that it has been very draining on my conscience just watching this, because it's the first time, I believe, in a long time, in fact history, that we have seen such a partisan effort to get rid of a president over the most minuscule type of stuff. In fact, the Democrats have been trying to get rid of this president since he was inaugurated in January 2017. They have been tweeting about it. They have been clamoring about this the entire time for years, and now they have their chance. Unfortunately, I don't think there really is much of a chance for this to go anywhere, but at this point, I believe that the Democrats are all in on their delusion, and they have to go forward, because if they went just for a censure, they would have to admit defeat, and it would make them look really bad. So it's a no-win situation for the Democrats. Nancy Pelosi just recently made a statement here, and I'll go ahead and play that.
Our founders began in 1776, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with another. With those words, our founders courageously began our Declaration of Independence from an oppressive monarch for, among other grievances, the king's refusal to follow rightfully passed laws. In the course of today's events, it becomes necessary for us to address, among other grievances, the president's failure to faithfully execute the law. When crafting the Constitution, the founders feared the return of a monarchy in America. And having just fought a war of independence, they specifically feared the prospect of a king president corrupted by foreign influence. During the Constitutional Convention, James Madison, the architect of the Constitution, warned that a president might betray his trust to foreign powers, which might prove fatal to the Republic. Another founder, Governor Morris, feared that a president may be bribed by a greater interest to betray his trust. He emphasized that this magistrate is not the king. The people are the king. They therefore created a constitutional remedy to protect against a dangerous or corrupt leader: impeachment. Unless the Constitution contained an impeachment provision, one founder warned, a president might.
I'm going to go ahead and just pause that, stop that right there. It's just kind of Nancy Pelosi just kind of droning on as she does. I really feel kind of concerned for her, because she is getting older and she is not able to really enunciate her words, and she looks really confused, honestly. I'm not trying to make fun of her, but every time I see Nancy Pelosi talk, she really sounds confused. It sounds like she is really just trying to concentrate on reading the words in front of her face. There are a few main points here, just off that brief snippet of Nancy Pelosi, telling the public that they are going forward this nonsense impeachment inquiry and going to vote on it. Most likely by the end of the year, this will be happening. And we all know what's going to happen, that it will pass the House. There's not one Democrat that will probably be voting no to this. Maybe a few, maybe one or two, but it certainly won't be enough to stop the impeachment from going forward, at least in the House. But there's a few things that she did say that I found was worth noting. That she said the word monarchy and king several times. Unfortunately for Nancy Pelosi, that she needs to be re-educated in how this government works. We do have elections that are decided not only by the population, but also by electoral college. So we all know how that works. I don't need to explain how electoral college works and why that is important to this republic. But that is something that she keeps saying. She kept saying stuff about monarchy. We have elections here. We do not have a king. And this whole thing about foreign interference and stuff, the Mueller report kind of put that to bed, and it didn't really provide too much evidence that there was any wrongdoing. Yes, Russia did a few things. I'm not saying they didn't have a hand in trying to influence an election, but at the end of the day, anybody that has voted for Trump was not specifically influenced by Russian trolls on social media. That didn't happen. People who are voting for Trump were voting for Trump. People who are voting for Hillary were voting for Hillary. That's just the end of the day. Now, if they had any kind of conclusive evidence that Russia hacked our election system, where they changed votes and all this other kind of stuff, I would be more interested in that. That would be something worth looking into. But as far as Russian trolls just kind of trying to influence different types of stuff, well, guess what? We have been doing that with all kinds of governments all over the world. We are not innocent when it comes to that. And to hold an impeachment inquiry with that as one of the foundational bases, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, as far as the whole Ukraine thing, we have gone through this over and over. That's why I really just didn't even want to do a video on this. That's why I really haven't been talking about impeachment too much, because it's not worth talking about. There is really nothing there. If you've been paying attention to a lot of the stuff and a lot of the witnesses that have been, if you want to call them witnesses, they're more presumption witnesses. At best, because all of their testimony is based on presumptions. And as we all know, that if you take anything to trial based on presumptions, it will be thrown out of court. Simple. I mean, it's a mistrial. It's at that point, there's just nothing there. And yesterday, when we saw the list of academics coming forward to talk about the Constitution, I'm not even exactly sure what that was, but it was just more of a waste of time, and it kind of just revealed the Democrats' whole cards to everyone at the table, that they're holding 7 dues lawsuit. They really don't have anything, and they are proceeding with this impeachment, going into the river with absolutely nothing, and they are kind of forced to, because they have already put too much money in the pot. I know I keep using poker references, but it works for everything. But as we know, that a 2/3 majority in the Senate has to happen in order for there to be a full removal of office. So that means that in the Senate, there is a trial. That means that the Chief Justice will reside. He will be summoned to the court, along with the president and ranking members of the House and also the Senate. They will have each of their time to examine and cross-examine witnesses. So Joe Biden obviously would, and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the rest, even Hillary Clinton, would be on the top of the list as far as the Trump legal team to call as witnesses. Joe Biden has already said here today, he's already come out and said that he will not appear at Senate impeachment trial despite demands from Trump. He says he won't appear, but if we read down here, it says former Vice President Joe Biden is responding unequivocally to a top White House officials who said Wednesday that President Donald Trump is demanding a full Senate trial, which he will get, featuring live witnesses if and when the House sends over articles of impeachment, which it has done, but not yet, not officially. It has not sent over articles. They are just writing them up. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Thursday, as we just saw, announced that the House would proceed with impeachment proceeding against Trump, saying that he had abused his power. She is now directing the chairman to officially draft articles of impeachment. They have been wanting this for years. They have the flimsiest of cases, and they know they do. They know it's not going to go anywhere. This is all just a partisan effort. Trump did not break the law. He did not betray his country. The facts speak for themselves. I am not going to go over everything again. This has just been kind of ad nauseum for the last few weeks, and honestly, I think a lot of the American people are getting tired of it. They really are. Most of them are. I think this impeachment inquiry is actually turning a lot of the fence riders over to the Trump side, and the Democrats really are not having the full understanding of what they're doing, and they won't see the full consequence until November of 2020. Break out the tissues. This will happen again. So basically what Biden says, Trump reiterated his demands for Biden to testify on a Thursday morning treat. We will have Schiff and Biden's Pelosi and many more testify, and will reveal for the first time how corrupt our system really is. I believe that it will happen 100%. I think this has all been a play. Trump is really, they're really playing into the hand of Trump, and Trump knows this, and he is going to use this to his advantage, and the Republicans obviously know this as well. They know that a lot of the Trump held districts for a lot of these Democratic representatives. They're going to have a lot to answer for when they come up for re-election, and we're going to be losing. They're going to be losing a lot of seats to Republicans. Republicans will once again take over the House again, and everything will be hunky-dory again. Now, if you're a liberal Democrat or a leftist, I'm really sorry for you, but this country is going to be back in the control of the Republicans soon enough. So Biden goes further and says, I'm not going to let them take my eye off the ball, Biden said outside a campaign event in Iowa Falls on Wednesday afternoon. The president is the one who has committed impeachable crimes. Okay, where's the proof? And I'm not going to let him divert from that. I'm not going to let anyone divert from that. Joe Biden's really good at diverting from everything. He doesn't want to answer a question like most politicians do, and specifically more recently here, Joe Biden. He doesn't want to answer any questions, and we've seen that over and over. So basically, what Joe Biden says that he's not going to do this willingly. He's not going to allow. He's not going to be forced to do this. It also says here that the underlying impeachment rules of the Senate afford the president a full suite of rights to argue the case on the facts and on the merits. That's why we believe quite strongly that in order to make the president's whole case in contradiction to a partisan process, which doesn't allow him to make his full case, that we need both a full trial and opportunity to call witnesses and work a trial over here on the Senate floor. So he says, let me see if there's anything else here that Joe Biden was talking about. He pretty much, Joe Biden, this is just Joe Biden saying that he's not going to be compelled. He's not going to be doing it willingly. Well, that's fine. You don't have to willingly come. But if Joe Biden is summoned, then he will have to show up, as well as Hunter Biden and the rest. So we go over here to govinfo.gov. And this is the, let me see. This is the procedure and guidelines for impeachment trials in the United States Senate. So this is what happens. Now this kind of goes there. There's a whole kind of thing that they do at the beginning where they pass on documents, and the master of arms and the judge comes in and he makes certain statements, and it's all very, it's all very constrained, and it's very choreographed. However, if you look down, there's a lot of different chapters here. Okay, and if we go down here at some of the rules. Starts here at Rule 1. If we go down to Rule 6, the Senate shall have power to compel the attendance of witnesses, to enforce obedience to its orders, mandates, writs, precepts, and judgments, to preserve order, and to punish in a summary way concepts of and a disobedience to its authority. Orders, mandates, writs, precepts, or judgments. I know it's kind of droning on. And to make all lawful orders, rules, and regulations which it may deem essential or conducive to the ends of justice. And the sergeant at arms, under the direction of the Senate, may employ such aid and assistance as may be necessary to enforce, execute, and carry into effect the lawful orders, mandates, writs, and precepts of the Senate. So if Joe Biden does not want to show up, guess what? The sergeant at arms can go get him. He will be forced to be a witness. He does not have any privilege to be, to be excluded from that. He can't just hide in a closet. His son can't just hide in a closet. If the Senate wants you there, guess what? You're showing up, and you're going to be a witness. This goes further. This is Rule 6. So we're going to skip to Rule, I believe it's 11 here. I believe it's 11. Okay, so that in the trial of any impeachment, the presiding officer of the Senate, if the Senate so orders, shall appoint a committee of senators, receive evidence, and take testimony at such time and place as the committee may determine, and for such purpose the committee so appointed and the chairman thereof to be elected by the committee shall, unless otherwise ordered by the Senate, exercise all the powers and functions conferred upon the Senate and the presiding officer of the Senate respectively under the rules and procedures and practice in the Senate when sitting on impeachment trials. Further, here, unless otherwise ordered by the Senate, the rules and procedures and practice in the Senate when sitting on impeachment trials shall govern the procedure and practice of the committee so appointed. The committee so appointed shall report to the Senate in writing a certified copy of the transcript of the proceedings and the testimony had been given before such committee, and such report shall be received by the Senate, and the evidence so received and the testimony so taken shall be considered of all intents and purposes, subject to the right of the Senate to determine competency, relevancy, and materiality. as having been received and taken before the Senate, but nothing therein shall prevent the Senate from sending for any witness. That's really important. But nothing therein shall prevent the Senate from sending for any witness and hearing his testimony in open Senate, or by order of the Senate having the entire trial in open Senate. Guess what? There is going to be an open trial in the Senate. The Democrats are going to vote for this to go forward. They'll think they've won a little battle, but in the Senate, it's on. There's going to be an open trial. Trump is going to be there along with his whole legal team. The Republicans will be there, Democrats will be there, but more importantly, any witness that the Republicans want to be there. They will be there, and they will be forced to attend. So this is just something to remember going forward. The Democrats have really shot themselves in the foot. I sincerely believe they should have went for a censure, because they could at least had that as a goal, and they could have focused more on removing Trump, if they hate him so much, in the election, rather than this partisan kind of circus show that's continuing to go on. It's been going on for years. People are really sick of it. I think that the main event is just around the corner, the beginning of the new year. They will vote on this at the end of this month. They will send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, and then the process will start. Be aware that when this process starts, there's going to be a lot of uncovering of a lot of shady stuff, especially when it comes to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, and maybe even Clinton as well. I don't even think that she's going to be able to cover herself and put herself in a shroud of secrecy when it comes to this. This is not anything the Democrats really wanted, but now they have it. So until next time, this is Joe with Simple Life Show. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.